This video is sponsored by Y-Food. Okay, so if you watched the last video on the Audi R8, then you know it needs a bit of TLC. And by TLC, I mean a lot of TLC. So now that the Bentley's gone and the A45's gone, I no longer have a daily car. So my daily car at the minute is the Maserati. In today's video, we're going to be buying something where it will need to be taken off the road when we fit it, if that makes sense. So basically, to put things into perspective, we literally have about 4 or 5 weeks to get the R8 ready and back on the road so I can actually drive it and use it as a daily. So we need to create a list of parts of things that we need and things we need to fix, because I don't want to start putting the bodywork back together when it's running not so well at the minute. So let's get into it. I'm going to need some adhesive remover because this is remains of the old wrap that was on the car. I'm going to need some wiring connections to sort this mess out. I'm missing a few caps and a few bolts for the side blades. These aren't actually put in yet. That light's a brake pad light, so we need to check whether the brake pads actually do need to be replaced or the sensor's just a bit faulty. This is missing a trim. There's no door speakers in that side. This alloy's losing air and is absolutely battered. This left-hand side fan is running constantly when you run the car. Yes, there's paint issues here, around here, on here, and here. The under tray is, well. So before we start self-diagnosing things, the most sensible thing will be to get it plugged in with a VAGCOM, which I know just the people for. So let's go there. You plug the car in?
Plug your mum in.
So after a few more mum jokes, Phil plugged in the VAGCOM to the R8 and found a few faults. What's wrong with it?
What's right with it?
After clearing the existing faults, one fault came back up, which was the coolant fan switch. So as Phil showed us, we are getting an actual fault from the fan switch on here, which is right at the back here. Now there is a fan switch on the left hand side as well, so what I want to do is switch them over and then see if the fault then becomes on the right hand side rather than the left, before I order a new fan switch for that. But before we get cracking on doing that and removing the headlights to switch all the fan switches over, we've got places we need to go and places we need to be. And one of those places is the Audi main dealer. Yes, I'm going to the main dealer to buy parts because remember last time we made a rookie error with the Bentley parts actually being cheaper from the main dealer than what I found online. And I already made that mistake again. So here's the front bumper. And it's not in the best condition, but it is salvageable. One of the parts that were missing from it was this part of the grille here. This area here looks like it was missing a bit at the bottom, and that's actually where the towing eye goes. So I think you have to pull that out to put your towing eye in, and then it can be towed. And it wouldn't surprise me that that R8 was towed at some point. So I think that's been removed and definitely been lost. I found one online, and it cost me £220, and this is it. And guess what happened? They sent the wrong one. This is the wrong side. And do you know what? I was like, right, I'm getting sick of it. Let's just ring the main dealer. I know it's going to be more expensive, but I need it. I called the main dealer, and guess what? £90. So I've got a list of parts that we're going to go to Audi with today. I've just come to the conclusion that most of the stuff was probably going to be cheaper, hassle-free, and at least we know we're going to get the right part that way. But before we do that, we have got to go and spend some serious money on the Maserati. We have arrived. Now, before we go in, I'd like to say that this video is sponsored by Y-Food. Now on a day like today where we're rushing around getting parts for the car, and sometimes when I'm even working on the car, I'm so guilty of just going out and buying rubbish to eat. Which is where Y-Food has really helped me out with not only actually saving money, but also feeling better and eating better. This is not a diet drink, it's literally a meal replacement drink. So inside one of these bottles there is 26 vitamins and minerals, it's lactose free, it's gluten free, and there's 500 calories, so it actually replaces one of your meals of the day. So it can replace breakfast, lunch, or even dinner, and they taste good as well. This one is smooth vanilla, my favourite is happy banana, but Hannah's taken all of them as usual. But I do highly recommend you do go and check these out. There's a banner appearing right underneath me right now where if you click the link in the description box below and use my code, you're actually going to get a discount as well off your first order if you order one of the little sample packs to find out what is your favourite flavour. But believe me, it's going to make you feel better, and it's also going to save you a bit of money as well if you're guilty of buying rubbish food like myself. Right, should we go inside?
I never like, I never like, I never like, I never like.
So my bank account's a lot lighter after that visit. You guys can discuss in the comments what you think is about to happen to the Maserati. But for now, let's go to Audi. This is either going to be really expensive or we're going to save quite a bit of money. So let's go. And now we're back at base and the parts have been ordered for the Audi R8, but we're still running into the problem with the fan switch. So as you can see here, the new fan switch will be £462, and I'm reluctant to change the fan switch for £462 and then it not work. Right there is the fan switch, and it's a complete module which is actually attached to the fan, and they are different part numbers on the right hand side and the left hand side, so I can't actually switch them. But what I want to do is just sort of take it off and see if there's any corrosion inside and see if that's causing the problem. I know there's not a problem with the thermostat because it's running up to temperature, the heaters work fine. So let's get this jacked up and see if we can get this fan switch apart. Okay, so first things first, I've just taken this off and I know the alloy is battered, but as you can see, this tyre size is not really the correct tyre size for this wheel. It looks a bit stretched on, and what's even worse, what is that? This looks like an absolute worst example of a weld ever, which is actually re-cracked. I know Audi wheels are prone to crack. It's not the first time I've seen an Audi wheel crack, but that weld is absolutely horrendous. I probably could have done better with my eyes shut and my hands tied behind my back. But what on earth is that? But that is definitely probably leaking air. But we will get rid of these alloys anyway. Wheelmania, where are you at? But here we have here, and it looks like we've got some BC Racing coilovers on, which are actually pretty decent. I had them on my S5 and they were really good, so I'll look at keeping them, and they probably just need a nice clean up, but they look in good condition. As for the brake pads are actually in good condition as well, which is good news, and the discs don't have any lip on at all. So that light which comes on the dash to say about brake pads may just be a sensor which is here, and I'll have a look into that, see if we can fix that sensor. But the bit that we need to get to is right under there. There's the switch. It's actually connected to the fan, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to take off than I first imagined. Before I start doing that, I'm actually going to go around and check some fuses to make sure there's no fuses blown or anything like that, because if there was a fuse blown, I imagine it would go into a safety thing and just keep the fan spinning constantly just for safety. So boys, girls, I think we've cracked it. So fuses and everything is all okay in the car, definitely right. But what I have just noticed is that on this side, this is the air conditioning condenser. And, surprise, surprise, the air conditioning doesn't work. Check this. So on Audi's, the AC button is here. Now, when you press the button, that light should stay on to tell me that the AC is on. And because it's going off, that shows that there's a problem with an AC. There's probably no gas in it. So inside the engine bay right here, that's where I believe you pressurize the AC system, from that valve there. Problem is, I don't have like an AC compressor here or anything like that, but my dad may be able to help me with that. So my dad says he's had a similar problem before, and what he's done, he's actually pressurized the system just using air, and then we can see whether the fan goes off and on. Problem is, I can't get to my dad's with the car looking like that. So I'd like to get both front and rear bumpers on, tax the car, then drive it down to my dad's and see if we can pressurize it. I don't want to be taking bumpers off and on 100 times over. So we need to drop this front bumper off, which is damaged. Here is the damage to get fixed. Then I can pop the front bumper on, the rear bumper on, and go down to my dad's and see if we can pressurize this system. So that is the plan. So I'm dropping off my broken bumper to Dentcraft in Birmingham for them to plastic weld it and fix it up for me. But whilst we're here, they also have an Audi R8 Mark 1, gated manual as well, V8, and they've done some little aftermarket modifications which I think I may copy. So come and have a look here. Maxton Design front splitter, which does look sick. And also the Maxton Design side skirts, V10 alloys, and something that I didn't know, the V10 exhaust tips actually bolt straight on to the V8 rear bumper, so that is something definitely that I will be ordering. And we are back home. Why on earth would you tint a back window so you can't see the naturally aspirated V8? In honour of the V8 gang, the tint's coming off. Now, are we in agreement that that just looks way better? Does it annoy anyone that this is the centre of the car though, and the centre of the engine is over there? That is, oh, that is annoying. I've got to figure out all this wiring now before getting on the rear bumper. I'm going to crack on with that. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. At least you guys know exactly what is wrong with the Audi R8. See you in the next video, guys. Peace out. Drug